Hey guys, it's Jessie and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you the 7th update to my Pan Nose eyeshadow series. So if you are unfamiliar with what a Pan Nose eyeshadows project is, it's basically a project pan style project where you randomly select a certain number of eyeshadows in your collection to work on and try to hit pan. I've selected 6 and every month I update you on whether I have hit pan or how many times I've used it, etc, etc. In my personal project I allow myself to roll out a shadow if I've hit 30 uses and then if I've hit pan as well. So if you are not caught up, then I will link my series and playlist up here for you to check out. I've done a few videos on my old channel and now doing them on here, so you may have to flick through channels to check that out. But we've got some really exciting progress this month. I'm really happy with where we are at and I'm really excited to share this with you guys. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it. My main channel and any of the palettes I mention as well as what I'm wearing on my face will be linked in the description, so feel free to check that out if you want to. But yeah, let's just get straight into it. So I'm going to be going from least to most progress this month and starting with the shades we're going to be keeping in. Firstly, I have my Charlotte Tilbury Bejeweled Eyes to Hypnotize palette. I rolled this one in last month and I will put in a photo here of what it looked like before, and here is what it is looking like now. So this is the shade here. It's the third one in the Love Glow trio. As you can see, there is not a lot of progress. I think these mattes are, 1, very pigmented, and 2, very kind of hard pressed in the pans. I've used this one 20 times, so I've only got 10 more uses next month to roll this out. I really can't see a dip at all. I don't think I'm near pan at all. I can see some light brush marks. I don't know if you can tell or see in the pictures, but yeah, very light brush marks, but no real progress whatsoever. So this shade is going to be staying in this month. I'm actually using most of these shades in my eye look today. This one's just in my crease. It's a really gorgeous red colour. And then next up we have the shade from my NARS Afterglow palette. I had rolled in the shade Hotline, and here's what it looked like last month, and here's what it's looking like now. It's just this kind of gold coppery orangey shade here. So I'm actually wearing this on my lower lash line today. I've used it a few times all over the lid and a few times just on the lower lash line, and I've used this one 26 times this month. There isn't really a load of progress in here, you can't really tell. You can tell that there's definitely been a movement in there, but not loads. I've been taking it on kind of like one of those sponge brushes and doing it on my lower lash line because I feel like that works well with shimmer shades, and it's definitely getting hard pan. I've already removed the hard pan once and it's getting it again, so this shade is definitely prone to that. It's still a very nice shade. I really like it. I forgot to swatch the other one, so I will swatch that and then swatch this one as well. So that is the first shade swatched out there, just a really gorgeous kind of burgundy true brick red colour. And then the second shade is this orange one here, and that is what that one just looks like there. So really gorgeous kind of shimmery sparkly gold colour, really pretty. I've really been enjoying having this one rolled into this project because I hadn't really used it all that much before, and I'm really excited to have rolled it in. It's a really good quality palette. I just hadn't really reached for it before, but now I'm really happy to have reached for it a bit more. The shade's really pretty, but yeah, those two shades are going to be staying in. And then now moving on to the shades that are going to be rolling out. So firstly we had my LA Splash eyeshadow palette. I had the shade Onyx rolled in, and here's what it looked like last month, and here's what it is looking like now. It's just that black shade in the corner. As you can see, I've got a really good dip going on in here. I don't know if you can tell too well from just looking at it here, but there is definitely a really big dip going on in the middle. I've been using this to tight line. I'm using it today along the top of my waterline. I don't know what it's called, my upper lash line, I guess. I don't really know, but I've just been using that, and I haven't hit pan yet. I have used this 30 times, hence why I'm rolling it out, and I think I'm going to keep unofficially panning it because I want to just use it every day because I think I am near pan, but it's a little bit of a boring shade to keep in the project. I'm going to use it every day anyway, so I don't want to kind of take up one of the spaces of shades in my project with something that I can just kind of basically use every day, similarly to how I'll use kind of like a setting shade on my eyes before I do my makeup. But yeah, I'm having this one unofficially still in the project, but technically we are rolling it out. Again, I used this 30 times, so it has hit the threshold, so I'm not breaking any rules. I really like this one. It's a really pigmented black colour, so I like it a lot. But yeah, it's just been really nice to kind of have that in here to kind of encourage me to do some kind of tight lining and stuff like that. So I've really been enjoying using that, and I think it really kind of elevates some of my looks. Next up, we have my Sigma Enchanted palette. So I had this shade Evergreen in here. I've had this in for 2 months now, and I didn't take a picture of it initially, but it was basically untouched. So here's what it looked like last month, and here's what it's looking like now. So I've used this one 11 times this month for 30 uses total. As you can see, I am getting a big dip in there. I think there's definitely kind of clear signs of usage. I'm not sure how much you can tell on camera because it is quite bright, but there is definitely signs of usage. This was a really nice kind of dark deep green colour, and I really liked the way that it looked. I was using it on my lower lash line quite a lot, and I did like 2 or 3 green looks throughout the course of the month, but I do kind of much prefer a neutral natural look like the one I'm wearing today, so I just used it on kind with the outer corner of the lower lash line to kind of smoke things out slightly. But yeah, I really did enjoy this one. I think it was a really pretty colour, and I really did enjoy having this palette in the project. This is a reasonably newer palette to me, and I love it so much. It's definitely one of my favourites, and I really do enjoy reaching for it and using it. So I've had a lot of fun with this one in the project. So then we have my Urban Decay Naked Cherry palette. I had the shade Bang Bang in here, and I believe this has been in here for this is the 3rd month now. So here's what it looked like initially, and then in the last few updates. I've actually used this one 12 times this month, which I don't know if I was necessarily expecting, because last month I really didn't enjoy using it. I actually don't mind it too much now. It's definitely a very kind of subtle light shimmer. I'm using it all over the lids today, so I think for a natural everyday look it's been really pretty. But here's what it's looking like now. As you can see, I've definitely got a major dip in there now. I don't think I'm that far away from pan, but I am going to be rolling it out. As I said, I've used it 12 times, which brings me up to 30 uses, but you can see there's definitely a really big dip in there, which I'm really happy with. I feel like this palette is looking a lot more loved now. It's got an extra kind of really used shade, so yeah, you can definitely see there is a lot of progress going on in there, a very big dip, as I definitely used a lot of this every time I kind of rolled in this palette. Also, if you can see kind of like a weird thing on my nail, that's nothing gross or anything, it's literally just a bit of a brow pomade and I can't get it off, so just ignore that. But yeah, this is just what it looks like here. Very big dip, and I'm definitely very happy with the progress. But yeah, that's hit 30 uses now, so we'll be rolling that one out. And then lastly, we have the shade Basic Truth from my Nikki Tutorials X Beauty Bay palette. Here's what it looked like previously, and I believe this has been in here for 2 months now. I used this 7 times this month for 26 uses total, and then I did hit pan on there. I don't know if you can see, it's just that kind of creamy shade here. I do have just a little baby pan in there, so definitely a very big dip and a very little pan, so that's very exciting. I'm really happy to have hit pan in another one of my palettes, so that is another pan to add to my pan total. I also hit 2 pans in my HZ Project Pan Challenge project type thing this month. That update will be coming soon. I just wanted to let you know that has increased the number of shadows that I do have pan on in my collection. I won't be showing them today because that would spoil that update, but now I do have 26 eyeshadows with pan and a total of 413 eyeshadows, because I did depot 2 of my palettes into a singles palette and got rid of the ones I didn't like. So that was the James Charles palette and the Steve Laurent Wild Thing palette. So I have I got rid of a few of those shades, and that's why my numbers may have changed. So yes, that means I do now have a pan percentage of 6.2%, which is super exciting. That's the highest it's ever been in this project. I do think in the next month it might go down again, because I'm going to get some more palettes, obviously. Have you met me? So yeah, that is just the pan percentage for now. I'm very happy with that. 6.2% is definitely on track and really good progress. So now I'm going to be rolling out the rest of my shades and keeping in these 2, which means I get to roll in 4 new shades, which is obviously going to be super duper exciting. So I'm going to pull up a random number generator and then put in the numbers 0 to 387, because that is the number of shadows that I have eligible to be selected in my collection, and the number of shadows without pan. So my spreadsheet goes in chronological order of when I got the palette. So the lower the number, the older the palette, the higher the number, the newer the palette. So let's generate the first number, and that is going to be 137. So 137, I believe, comes from my Soft Glam palette. Yeah, that is the shade Glistening. So I'll grab that. That is just this shade up here. I don't know if you can see it, that one here. We've had Fairy in the project before, but now we have Glistening in here. This is a really gorgeous shade. I think this is definitely going to be an inner corner colour for me. It's quite light for me to use all over the lid unless I'm doing a very kind of light natural look. It's this really gorgeous champagne colour. I don't know if you can see it too well, but it is really shimmery, really light, really pretty champagne colour. It's very creamy, and so I think that's going to be really nice to use. It's a really good quality shade. I love this Soft Glam palette. I've had the shade Rustic and Fairy in this project before, and I've really enjoyed using them. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to hit pan on this. I might have to hit the 30 uses like I did with Fairy, because there was only a slight dip there due to the fact that it is probably more of an inner corner shade for me, but I'm very excited to have rolled this one in. Love this palette. It's a really, really good quality one, and definitely one of my favorites. So yeah, that's a super exciting one to have rolled in. A really nice inner corner shade, so that'll be fun to use. So then our 4th shade now is going to be number 334. I believe 334 comes from my ABH Kali Bible palette, so definitely a load of ABH in here. So 334 is the shade Bear. This is the Kali Bible palette here, and the shade Bear is just this really light one here. So definitely kind of more of a a setting shade for me, I think. I will swatch this one. So I've swatched bare underneath that glistening shade. I'm not sure if you can actually see it too well. It's just swatched under there. It is a very light colour, definitely going to be a really good kind of crease colour for me. I don't know if you can see, I've just swatched it there as well. Sorry, not crease colour. It's definitely going to be a really good setting colour for me. So I'm really excited to have that in. I can definitely use that every day and hit the 30 uses. Hopefully I will be able to hit pan as well. Not too sure, but fingers crossed. So yeah, another ABH palette. We've got double ABH in here now, which is exciting. So yes, I really like the Carly Bybel palette. I haven't had a chance to use it loads, but I think this will be super fun to kind of play with and give me a chance to play with that palette a bit more. So now for our fifth shade, as you can see, we've got the 4 here. It's going to be number 212. So that one, I believe, comes from my Modern Renaissance palette. So they're definitely going to be very ABH heavy. So 212 is the shade Venetian Red. I'll grab that now. So our third ABH palette, the shade Venetian Red, is this kind of slightly shimmery pinky purple colour here. That's going to be really fun to play with. It's definitely not as creamy as the other ABH palettes and shades that I just swatched, but I think it will still be nice to play with. It is this kind of gorgeous reddy colour. I'm just thinking now, I don't know whether that is too similar to that one up here. I think they are very similar shades, and I think I would probably use them for the same purpose. Like, I don't know if you can see it, that shade and this shade here, they're very similar. So I might actually re-roll that one for a different shade, just because I don't like having really similar shades in here, because then I'll just won't get enough use out of them. So I think, unfortunately, I am going to be re-rolling that one. So the one I've rolled in instead is 275. That comes from my Colourpop Sandstone palette. So 275 is the shade Wild Creek. Okay, so it is this shimmer shade here. It is kind of a darker, I don't know, almost brown shimmer shade. I will swatch this kind of along the side. It's a brown shimmer shade with almost kind of like a purple reflect. I feel like it almost gives me kind of like, looks a little bit like an oil slick type thing on the hand. It's not swatching too well, you can't really see much of the shimmer, but that is the shade there. I think that'll be really fun to play with. That'll be a nice one to wear in the outer corner maybe, and then have a lighter shimmer across the lid. So yeah, that one's going to be rolling in place of this one, just because I think the other one was a little bit too close to the shade from the Charlotte Tilbury palette. So that is going to be the one rolling in instead. And then lastly, going to generate one more number for number 6, and that is number 71. So that is all the way near the top of my spreadsheet, and that is from another ABH palette. So I don't know why I've literally rolled in so many Anastasia palettes this month. This is from my Riviera palette, and the shade 71 is the shade Monte Carlo. So that is this really gorgeous kind of light pink one in here. I've had the shade Bahamas in there before and only made a small dip, but the shade Monte Carlo definitely looks a bit more usable and wearable for me on a daily basis. It's a really gorgeous pink tone. I love how we're still sticking to the pink, as we kind of have been over the past few days and month really actually. This is definitely a bit of a kind of drier formula. I don't know whether because the palette's slightly older, but it's just this pink shade right here. I think this is definitely a better fit than this one from Modern Renaissance. It's a much kind of truer pink, a much lighter pink, and a bit more of a rosy pink than this one up here, which is definitely more red leaning. Both of these are more red leaning, so I think these will pair really nicely together. So this is going to be my colour story for this month. If you ignore this red shade here, I can't get rid of it because it's so dark, but I'm super duper excited. I'm really excited to play with these new colours. It's always fun to roll in a new colour story, so I definitely think predictions for next month, I will be able to roll both of these out because I will have definitely hit the usage threshold. And then I think for these two as well, hopefully I should be able to roll out through the usage threshold. This one hopefully I will have hit pan on because it is quite a light shade. Bare here, definitely should be able to hit pan on that one. So that is kind of the hopes. Then for this shade in Sandstone, Wild Creek, I'm not sure how much use I'm going to get out of it, but obviously I'm going to work my way through it. Definitely a darker colour and a lot outside my comfort zone, so that'll be fun. And then Monte Carlo here I think will pair really well with kind of the pinker looks I've been doing recently with my AZ project palette as well. But yeah, I'm just super excited to see where that goes. This shade's definitely a lot drier I think than I remember it, but that's probably just through age of the palette. But yeah, I think it's really funny how I ended up rolling in 4 ABH palettes even though I had to get rid of one. So we're definitely very ABH heavy this month, but I don't mind because it's one of my favourite brands. And then we've also got Colourpop, NARS and Charlotte Tilbury, which I love as well. So yeah, I'm really happy with this month's update. I'm really excited to work on these shadows. Let me know your thoughts on this colour story in the comments, and if you have any suggestions for looks, do let me know. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a like down below. You can hit subscribe, turn the bell to join a little club. Make sure you turn on all notifications, then you'll be notified every single time I post a new video. If you want to watch one of my other videos, there'll be 2 on the screen now to pick from, as well as a load linked up in the cards from earlier. If you want to find any of these palettes as well as anything I'm wearing, that will all be linked in the the description along with my main channel and social media, so do feel free to check that out if you would like to. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!